All right, it finally happened. Just stone cold punched in the throat from the time the slate begins until the time the slate ends. 70-yard Saquon Barkley touchdown. Very, very bad for the two Philadelphia Eagles. Everyone played in cash. And it basically, from that point, only got worse. It never got better to the point of the last meaningful play of the slate. I'm winning. I mostly play head-to-heads. I'm winning money. I'm feeling great. I'm like, I made a swap of all swaps. 60% owned Bo Nix, 4% owned Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones easily gets his 23 fantasy points. The game is over. There's no reason for the Denver Broncos to be throwing the ball. They run. They get down to the 5-yard line, 2 incomplete passes. I beat the train, the ETR train. I had more points because I swapped until the Dallas Cowboys decline a penalty. Can't really understand what's going on here. They decline it. Bo Nix, Sean Payton, they drop a play. 5-yard pass to RJ Harvey, touchdown. Bo Nix beats Dan Jones by 1.5 points. I felt my soul leaving my body after this. What a day, guys. This was all day, all morning. I was like, okay, can't play Ja'Marr Chase. Ja'Marr Chase over Jonathan Taylor would be the worst decision anyone could ever make. What did I do? I played fucking Ja'Marr Chase instead. This is horrible, man. This is awful stuff because it's one thing when you run bad. It's another when you play bad and you know you're playing bad as you're clicking it. And I knew that not playing Jonathan Taylor was inexcusable. I don't know. I need you guys to commiserate with me.
I will commiserate because I feel the exact same way all week. It was very clear to me that Jonathan Taylor's a far better play than Ja'Marr Chase because Ja'Marr Chase has really big games, but he's a receiver. He can also have small games. Like he can easily have just like 7 for 65 or, 6 for 82. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but it's not a smash. But there is no game in existence this year where Jonathan Taylor does not smash, particularly at home in the Dome against Tennessee. He was always going to get 3 touchdowns. Always. If you put the over-under on Jonathan Taylor touchdowns at 2.5, you should take the over. And indeed, it went over. And yet, the person who got me to play Ja'Marr Chase instead of Jonathan Taylor, his name is none other than Darnell Mooney. Darnell Mooney. When he was active, when Drake London got ruled out.
Drake London being ruled out is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. This is insane shit. Do you know my last team that I had in before this team? It was fucking Chris Olave and James Cook.
No way. You weren't going to play Cook and cash.
It was the last team I had saved. I looked at the last screenshot I sent. It was Chris Olave and James Cook.
Yeah. I mean, just not ideal, friends. Not ideal. Like, dude, all week, I was punting quarterback. I was playing freaking Huntley, or I was playing like Kirk Cousins or somebody like this that was 45, or Rattler, somebody that was, well, I'm glad I didn't play Rattler, I guess, but that was like mid 4,000s. And I was just playing Bijan and Jonathan Taylor and Rachaad White. I was just playing all of them. And, I was going to like punt with Noel, maybe Tez Johnson, but then Darnell Mooney, the alpha wide receiver of the Atlanta Falcons, in a great game script against, in the Dome against Miami. I was like, this is a can't miss for 4,400. Darnell Mooney's a lock. We must play Darnell Mooney. And my friends, we did not have to play Darnell Mooney. We didn't have to do that.
No, we didn't. Here's the thing. We didn't have to play Schultz. Okay, Dalton Schultz. I'll read the lineup. So this lineup, this was the big train that everyone played. It's the team Nate played. Bo Nix, Rachaad White, Bijan Robinson, Ja'Marr Chase, Devonta Smith, Darnell Mooney, Dallas Goedert, Dalton Schultz and the Bengals defense, if you look at the cumulative ownerships of that team, 57% Bo Nix, 53% Rachaad White, 84% on Bijan, 58% Chase, 77% Devonta, 48% Mooney, 69% on Schultz, only 37% on Goddard, 47% on the Bengals defense. Unreal. Every play was like the one I'm most angry about is Dalton Schultz, because Dalton Schultz being a shitty bad player shouldn't be surprising to anyone at all. Dalton Schultz has been a shitty non-target, like just the concept of, oh, you just have to buy the Dalton Schultz projection at face value and just jam it in, is so bad and so stupid and so non-thinking of me. I feel so dumb to have done this. I feel dumb.
No,
for
no. I mean, here's the thing. Yes, I mean Dalton Schultz is ass, and we should know he's ass. But he was a $3,300 tight end that everybody played. We didn't lose because we played Dalton Schultz. You had to have a $3,300 tight end.
Well, we lost for multiple reasons. Another reason we lost, treating the Bengals defense as anything other than the Bengals defense. Like Trey Hendrickson was questionable, maybe not even going to play. And even if you assume the Jets do not win this game and that they stink in this game,
which we did in our Survivor League, FYI.
So even if you assume that, the way that the Jets would be bad wouldn't even translate to fantasy points. It feels as like you would not anticipate, like the Bengals would still have gotten a good score had the Jets been non-functional, but the Bengals, it was all bad. Like
I don't think nothing of the reasons you guys are tilting is what I'm tilting over. I don't think Schultz was
bad. Why
bad.
are you tilting?
No, the one thing, just Nate, before you go, the one thing is playing Jamar Chase over Jonathan Taylor. That's it. That's it.
That's really
Jonathan Taylor was like 20% owned in double ups and head-to-heads. If you were part of the 20% that knows the ball, you just won. You just won. That's all you had to do. You didn't even have to make a good rest of the lineup. You just fucking won. And we knew it, and we were too mentally weak. Our gills were too full of water. We're just such idiots. Our brains were too smooth. Such goddamn idiots to do that. I don't care what you say, Nate. That's why we lost.
The thing about Jonathan Taylor versus Jamar Chase isn't the problem, though. Jamar Chase was $1,300 cheaper than Jonathan Taylor.
But the problem is that you don't have Jonathan Taylor.
Okay, so that is the problem. The problem is that we played Bijan Robinson on a team without Drake London, without Michael Penix, and we didn't take into account the risk to this Atlanta offense. And the problem was playing Bijan Robinson over Jonathan Taylor. It wasn't Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase was $1,300 cheaper. There was no good lineup that faded Jamar Chase that got Jonathan Taylor that would have been a better projected cash team. Like all of the teams that played Jonathan Taylor, I'm looking at him going, I wouldn't have played this. So I don't know.
No, there is one. There is one, and I'll tell it to you when you're done.
Is it the Olave Giants D?
Yes.
But it still has Bijan. It was the
but
Bijan
it also has Jonathan Taylor.
Darnell Mooney, Devonta Smith, Giants, and JT.
Right.
So it faded. It faded. Yeah, it faded Rachaad White. So
that's okay because Rachaad White sucks. He sucks. They halfway through this goddamn game, they said the coaching staff looked at him and they said, you know what? He actually sucks. After he had those 3 goal line runs that he got stuffed on every single one.
He also hurt his ankle, Rachaad White, to give him a little bit. But yes, he does suck.
He sucks. And they got sick and tired of his ass. And they're like, Sean Tucker, come in here.
They were playing Josh Williams, a running back with the number of 18.
That's right. That's right.
I just think that the 2v2 or the 3v3 of Jamar Chase, Rachaad White, Bengals D versus Jonathan Taylor, Chris Olave, and Giants D, I would take the Rachaad White, Jamar Chase side. I think the Jamar Chase, Chris Olave projection difference was so big, and the Rachaad White JT difference was not as we weren't dropping that much. The thing I feel the most bad about is the Bijan Robinson thing. The fact that we didn't think oh, Drake London's out. Oh, Michael Penix is out. Oh, maybe Atlanta is going to be inept and not able to move the ball. Instead, we just all played this $8,800 Bijan on a non-functional team thinking this is okay. I think Bijan is the thing I feel worst about by far. It's not Jamar Chase. It's not the two tight end team.
I don't. Because Bijan should just like get his. The way that Bijan wins is you just like hand him the ball and you throw it to him in the flat and he just like makes shit happen. But I think I sort of agree with you in the sense that Kirk Cousins is dusty, and we just said
dusty.
And we're like, Kirk Cousins is in it. It's fine. We'll play Bijan Robinson and Darnell Mooney together, not respecting the structural challenges that Kirk Cousins and his carcass.
I guess this is the way I would put it, is that just accepting that Mooney was a standard tier of deviation better than Jalen Noel, when I think Mooney is an actively bad player with a better quarterback. And so Noel, I think, is good. Mooney, I think, is bad. Kirk Cousins, I know, is bad. CJ Stroud, I think, is worse than the standard projection of him, but is at least a league average quarterback.
And has, for the last 3 weeks, been on the upswing. Like, there's momentum going in Houston's favor here, that Houston should have been where we looked. And we just did. I feel bad about this Atlanta. That's what I feel worse about. I don't feel bad about Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz at 3,300 last week got 10 targets, 2 weeks in a row, 6 targets above that. I don't feel bad about Dalton Schultz at 3,300. And I think I don't know. He was hurt.
I guess if I had to make a flow chart of things that I feel stupid about, the first
Atlanta
thing
could be the top one.
No, top flow chart is not just starting your lineup with Jonathan Taylor and then working backwards from there.
That's right.
Jonathan Taylor he's the best player in fantasy by a bazillion points.
Not even close.
No one is even close.
He's having a LaDainian Tomlinson type season.
Yes. It would be like not playing LaDainian Tomlinson in cash against the Titans when it just was insane.
Yeah, Levitan talked about this team jam him in.
I never even thought about this, realizing how possible it was to just play Jalen Noel over Schultz. I just didn't even consider it. Bad by me. Bad to have not even thought about that. I guess I have a hard time with these slates where the top optimal teams are so clear in terms of projected points, like the Run the Sims opto, the ETR opto, the Blitz opto. They were all either the same thing or 2v2s, because some of the optos had Kyle Pitts for more points than Goddard, and then some of the optos had more points for Goddard than Pitts. So you got slightly different things based off of that. But they all had Bo Nix. Every opto had Bo Nix. Every opto had Bijan. Every opto had Rachaad White. Every opto had Chase. Every opto had Devonta. Every opto had Mooney. And every opto had the Bengals defense. And then some chopping or every opto had Schultz, and then chopping and changing of the flex in the defense. But also looking at those teams and looking at this dumb shit team that I played, I'm just looking at it being like, I felt very uncomfortable with that at 10:30. I felt uncomfortable with it at 11, and I felt uncomfortable with it submitting it, because the whole time I'm trying to find 2v2s to get different players in. And this was a slate that it definitely would have paid to have been more artful, to have had some more critical thought.
I mean, look at this team. Look at all the good goddamn running backs that were out there. And what did we show up with? We showed up with Bijan Robinson and Rachaad White and 2 tight ends. No, dude. I mean, just so bad. Just so bad. Did you guys give any, it would have been going way against projection. Did you guys give any thought once Lamar was ruled out to sticking with Derrick Henry? Because Derrick Henry was a lock at 6K when Lamar was supposed to play. And then when he wasn't, we're all like, yeah.
No, see, that was so it was the reverse of the
He would have been the fishiest play. He would have been the fishiest cash jam of the century, and I would have loved the slate if Lamar played.
Nate, that is the dumbest thing you've ever said. Henry was the first guy in.
No, he was not.
He's 6K, bro. What are you talking about?
He got 28 points with Huntley in.
Yeah. What are you talking about, man?
The Lamar,
He got
I
like
don't
18,
think
by
that
the way.
Henry's workload versus Rashad White is that much better. And Rashad White's team total here at 6,400, like I would have taken Rashad White over Derrick Henry, Lamar in. I think people still don't realize that like Derrick Henry is not the workload. Like he does not have the moat around his workload the way that some of these other guys do. And I don't think the Lamar being in or Lamar being out changes it. When I saw Derrick Henry
You've lost your mind there, bro, because
Yeah.
Derrick Henry
this is
splits
egregious.
as like when Baltimore's up and they're winning and they're like big favorites, like his points per game compared to like when they're losing or whatever are like, I mean, he's the most game script dependent back that we have. Lamar adds whatever 6 points to the spread. Like
It's
that. I don't know what you're
different
talking
when
about.
Henry is 7,500. When he's 6,000,
6K.
hit whatever pass catching equity he gives up versus Rashad White, he gains in touchdown equity with Lamar in.
Rashad White doesn't even catch that many passes, man. Like
Rashad White is at 6,400 and has a much better workload and similar team total projection in a game in New Orleans that expected to shoot out.
No, they did not have similar team totals. The before Lamar was ruled out, the Ravens had a 28.5 point team total. It was the second highest of the slate behind only the Broncos. They were not close. It was not close. Nate,
well, let's get out of this fantasy world. You know, let's forget about it. Let's get out of the fantasy world where, you know, Lamar Jackson played because he didn't. I kept in Henry in like a lot of GPPs, by the way. $6,000 Derrick Henry, man. Like I thought he was a good play.
Well, I guess I don't really have anything else to say. I think that I just didn't think deeply enough about this. Obviously the Optos have been having an insane year. Like the top optimal lineup has just been nuts for week 8? So it's been nuts for the last 7 weeks. It's been very easy to click the optimize button on ETR or wherever and just print money. And we're also at a time of year when that strategy has its drawbacks, even if it hits, because the trains get so large because of the survivorship bias of the player pool. So whatever, I don't know.
You can talk about my lineup a little bit because I actually did something a little bit different. I did a 2v2 off of what you guys did. Davis's obviously looks different because he swapped to Daniel Jones over Nick.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, I did a 2v2 off this really popular train. I went to Kittle instead of Goddard, and what else did I do? Oh, and I went to Olave.
Olave over Devonta and Kittle over.
Which I think is egregious, and I thought it was egregious at noon.
What are you talking about, bro? Egregious? You don't know ball. George Kittle.
With A.J. Brown out, Dallas Goedert and Devonta Smith should have been like two of the best cash play. And you went with Kittle on a San Francisco team that has not been nearly as efficient. And it's just all the volume in Philadelphia is now going to be around Saquon, Devonta, and Goddard. And you just faded that for, I don't know. It just felt insane that you faded both of them.
Yeah. I really like how you're preaching to me from your high perch here when Dallas Goedert got 2 fucking targets the entire game. Just happened to score on them both, and that's why you got a couple of points.
Oh, I mean
2 targets for Dallas Goedert. 2 targets.
Like
Don't you preach to me? Don't you preach to me, Nate? George Kittle is the goddamn man. George Kittle actually has a ceiling. And George Kittle is the one guy of all these 4 of Dalton Schultz and Goddard and whoever the hell you played, and Kittle, whatever. He's the only guy with a ceiling that can go for like 20 plus points, 30 plus points. I thought.
Goddard has been really good this year. Sammy, I'd be on your side.
Sammy's still living in like 2022, maybe. I don't know. But Dallas Goedert has had multiple weeks this year with nearly 20 expected DraftKings points. He has had weeks with 11 targets, 9 targets, and 7 targets this year alone, where George Kittle has been injured, coming back, and the San Francisco offense is not what it was. And you have Philadelphia with an even more condensed target share than we've ever seen yet this year, with AJ Brown being ruled out. Like, this is just an odd play. It's weird.
It's not weird. First of all, you're like, oh, it's so egregious. It was 1 point of projection. 1 point. Okay? So regardless, if you want to look at the numbers, it was not agreed. But this is where tight ends are a little bit more of an art, is if I'm not going to play a running back or a receiver, but a running back in the flex, I want somebody who can give me some upside. And George Kittle on National Tight Ends Day was that man. 17-yard touchdown, should have the second. Tongus cut him, took his touchdown away. Did you guys see that play?
Yes. He literally intercepted a touchdown intended for Kittle. He did.
I mean, you guys should have been wasted. You should have been wasted. Ran so bad not to ice you. Like, unbelievable.
I did think about doing this, by the way, about playing Huntley. I had the Huntley JT. I don't even remember the permutation.
Yeah, that was what I was doing all week until Drake goddamn London. God damn it.
Oh, it was here. I can read it out. Huntley, Bijan, Rashad, JT, Devonta Smith, Rashid Shaheed, Mooney, Schultz, and the Bengals. So that would have lost anyway, I think. Maybe not. Honestly, Jonathan Taylor got so many points, it still might have won.
He got 40 points, bro. We scored 90. If you play JT, you just auto win.
You just auto win.
Unless you played Rattler, maybe, because Rattler's really bad and got taken out. So
okay,
Knicks got him by 20 plus.
Just due to the nature of the game
this week.
Yes, Nathaniel.
So the internet gods are freezing Nate, as well they should.
So the funny thing about all this tilt is I was one Dallas Cowboys declined penalty away from coming in, because 97% of my action is in head-to-heads. Like I'm only in like 2 or 3 of the double ups. I was winning up until this. Well, I was winning for 2 reasons. The first being Daniel Jones was beating Bo Nix. The second was the optimal train was so big. All my opponents had the optimal train, the team that Nate played. So Daniel Jones beating Bo Nix was worth way more to me than Bo Nix beating Daniel Jones to my opponents, because all my opponents had the same team. The very last play that Daniel Jones was in on, he threw a pop pass to Jonathan Taylor. It was not a handoff. It was a pop pass. So I get a passing touchdown that Daniel Jones really deserved. So I'm winning. I'm winning. I'm smashing. Like I'm doubling up my money. Everything's great. Everything's amazing. Dallas declines this penalty. Sean Payton draws up a play to have a Bo Nix fucking passing touchdown to RJ Harvey.
Are you telling the story for a second time?
Yes. Bo Nix ends up beating Daniel Jones. I mean, I think ultimately I was after seeing how it played out, I was so correct to swap a 5% owned guy with the same projection as the 55% owned guy. The thing I texted you guys this in our group chat. I almost played Dobbins over Rashad, and then I was like, oh, I've created enough distance from the field without having to do the Rashad White swap. Obviously, if I do the Dobbins swap, I win too. But Nate, I'm surprised you did not consider swapping.
Yeah, I considered it, but I didn't find a 2v2 that I liked. And I think swapping a 1v1 in cash, I don't know how I feel about that. I guess I'd have to like sim it out and really work on it. But it just feels like you're taking a 1v projection where you need 2 to really get the leverage, it feels like.
But 5% to 55%, no, you are getting all the leverage you need. The leverage is very straightforward. If you get this 1v1 right, you win. If you lose this 1v1, you lose. That it was that because Nix was every optimal quarterback. Everyone, he was like the 4th most owned player of the whole slate.
Yeah, but if you get the 1v1 right and you win, and you have a median projection that says you have a point, that means that 60 to 75% of the time you win. So you're doing a card flip and you're only getting 25% odds because you're getting. But I was a huge median projection.
I was a huge favorite to lose anyway, lose or chop. right? Because the most likely scenario is a losing chop where like I think someone just said that the big optimal cash train cash for $3 in the $25 double up. So I'm removing all the chop equity, right? Because the chop equity with Jones goes to zero.
If you're saying most of your head-to-heads are most of your like stuff is tied up into head-to-heads, then that kind of negates that. Because in head-to-heads, if you play the same team, you just get the money back. So
yeah, in head-to-heads, you should just kind of stick.
So you should just stay because you're basically taking a flip and you're getting worse odds than the other person.
But
that's why I don't like a 1v1.
Everyone I'm playing in head-to-heads more or less has this team.
Yes, and so you are losing. Like Sammy, what am I?
Because in head-to-heads you get the chop back.
Yes.
So
you're basically doing a coin flip because it's a 1v1.
Yeah.
And it's either you win or you lose, and you're taking a median projection that's lower.
Right.
So you're saying like only 25% of the time I'm going to win this, but let's do a head flip. Well, I don't want those odds.
Yeah, it's better. It's more fun to win though.
It is more fun to win, but here's what I do. Like if you're playing so many head-to-heads where you can't go through them individually, if I need to swap,
yeah, I'm in like 400 head-to-heads.
Yeah.
If I need to swap, I'm like, oh, I'm behind, whatever. Or in this case, if you're tied with the train, it's like I will swap in all the double ups and 50-50s and stick in the head-to-heads and let it fall where it is, right? Because people show up with some weird shit in head-to-heads, and it's not washed out by the like massive field of the double ups, right?
Well, I was one fucking Bo Nix passing touchdown away from a real fucking cool story. So
yeah, well, I was one Jake Tonga's snatch out of George Kittle's hands from the same. So, which is worse.
And the 2v2 would have been even better. Getting Dobbins in there. I mean, that would have been then I'm like, because he got like 15. That would have been a smash.
Yeah.
That would have been a 2v2 would have made sense because I think you changed it's not just a coin flip at that point.
Whatever. I mean, you live and you learn. And also sometimes like you
sometimes you don't learn.
I was gonna say I've won 7 weeks in a row, or 6 weeks in a row. So like you just are not gonna win every week, and that just is what it is.
Wait, dude, we played bad. I mean,
we played bad. We
so bad. Like my kids are gonna be riding bikes in college because I decided that Darnell Mooney was a non-negotiable. Unbelievable.
And
man, this whole day. In tournaments, my big tournament team, I did a Jalen Hurts, Devonta Goddard thing, and it was like, and then Saquon breaks and I just like lost it.
Yeah. Also, Scatabo got hurt. I don't know if you guys know, but Nate is a massive Scatabo slappy, and RIP IP.
Here's a good one. So every week I show the winning lineup on FanDuel. Played Jonathan Taylor on FanDuel, still lost on FanDuel. Bo Nix, Rachaad White. Christian McCaffrey. I used the found value of Darnell Mooney, used that to pay up for Christian McCaffrey. Love that. Yeah, not even just smoked on fan. Well, I don't even know what
I thought FanDuel was so easy, but you played Jonathan Taylor there and you still lost.
Looks like Barkley better play than Christian McCaffrey on FanDuel. 62% on Barkley, better play. A lot of people played Achane. It looks like what these people did. What did they played Goddard and they played Barkley over Rachaad. Wow, these people know ball. Shout out to those people, man.
Yeah, anything without Dalton Schultz, great.
Anything without Dalton Schultz. So yeah, I don't know, man. Sometimes you lose. Speaking of losing, I actually did have a couple good tournament teams today because I played James Cook, but I think this team Nate had pulled up for me is far and away the worst dog shit I've ever. Here we go. Look at this, dude. Look at this Bo Nix ownership, man. Take me to prison. 24% on Bo Nix. That's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever done. The tournament. This is the team I played in the Big Spy. Bo Nix, James Cook, 68% owned Bijan Robinson, Rashid Shaheed, Tedoroya McMillan, Marvin Mims. Shout out to Marvin Mims. Fucking Troy Franklin gets like $1 billion. Marvin Mims gets $1. Colston Loveland, who is like my favorite play of the day. Christian McCaffrey in the Giants defense. I loved this team. I thought this was so. I was like, dude, James Cook, Tedroy McMillan, these
Yeah,
guys are
and
the absolute jams.
Loveland 18-yard reception on the first play from scrimmage. It's like, oh shit, it's on.
Yeah. I did. I like, honest to God, I thought this was so sharp. Negative 20% sim ROI. You just love to see it.
Other sites might have it more favorable. I would say my stuff is heavily weighted around like the quarterback, wide receiver, like your stack. And when your stack comes in over-owned, it's just you're screwed because the leverage that you have on the field is like totally negative. And so the Bo Nix Mims thing. I mean, what did you project Mims at pre-lock? I'm guessing 3 to 5%.
Whatever Run the Sims had it at. I don't even know.
I mean, yeah, 3 to 5% with your stack coming in at 12%. I mean, that really hurts.
It's so bad. And I did think the combinatorial ownership of Bijan and CMC would be fairly low. And McCaffrey was not really owned. I knew McCaffrey was going to be squeezed, so I wasn't really worried about the Bo Nix stuff. And obviously, if this lineup was Troy Franklin, it's like, oh, I'm a fucking genius. I'm the smartest guy alive. But my two big opinions today were that James Cook was the best running back play. That almost was true. And then I thought that Tedroy McMillan with Andy Dalton was like undervalued by a gazillion %. And that was kind of true in the sense that he did get way more good usage down the field. But like, if this makes sense, Dalton was better for Tet, but way worse for the offense as a whole. So like on the individual throws, Tet was way more likely to have success, but the offense was just way less likely to get first downs and score points, which I guess I could have gamed out beforehand. So I thought the ownership on those was really good, and it just didn't come together on this team. Like whatever, sometimes stuff just doesn't come together.
This Denver ownership. I mean, Cortland Sutton came in. Guess what Cortland Sutton came in in this contest?
20?
Yeah,
26.3%.
27.
My God. I never considered Cortland Sutton in any lineup, even for a half a second. Wow.
He was the third owned wide receiver. So you have Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, Cortland Sutton. I mean, Cortland Sutton was more played than Darnell Mooney, Chris Olave, Egbuka.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you couldn't have played Denver and gotten out with a positive sim ROI post lock here.
I think we are now to the point that the narrative that the Dallas defense is so bad that I think it's profitably hard to play the quarterback wide receiver one stack against them.
Yeah. I do like the James Cook and CMC thing here. That was sharp.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Nate, and far be it for me to tell you how to code or do any of this shit, but I would guess that like the Solver post-contest sims or like Nerdy Tenors post-contest sims would have this still probably not good because of the Mims ownership, but better because the combo ownership of Bijan and CMC was going to be really low. Still probably not a good team, but whatever. All right, here we go. Whirling Dervish. 71% sim ROI, brother.
Oh, you're showing this team. I mean, dude, it's sim for like 160% pre-lock.
Spencer Rattler, Christian McCaffrey, Barkley, Moondog, Rashid Shaheed, Chris Olave, George Kittle, Rashad White in the 49ers defense. If I'm reading these numbers right, he got positive like ownership on every guy in the lineup.
Pretty much. I mean, some of this does take into account with just like this means overall when you play a stack that comes in under owned, your ownership misses are correlated. And so because Rattler came in, I thought Rattler was going to be like nearly 10% owned because in most things he was like the sneaky stack. You know, people wanted New Orleans, Tampa Bay. I think it was the highest on ETR's game score. So I figured it was going to get steamed. But when Rattler comes in under, obviously Shaheed and Olave will too. So you end up getting, in this overall game, Rashad White came in way lower owned. You would have told me Rashad White is 19% in tournaments. I would have said he's the best running back play of the slate, you know?
Yeah. Rashad White's a cool, this actually isn't the lineup that I wanted to talk about.
But it's a good one.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool lineup because if you double Rattler and you have like a really value driven bring back in Rachaad White, like that can go two ways, right? Rachaad White can like get the points up front to make, to give them the lead to have them come back. But the way Rachaad White works is like, say New Orleans scores a bunch of points at the front of the game, Rattler to Mooney and Shaheed. He operates really well as a comeback player as well, right? So I thought that was he operated really well as a bring back. Your favorite play was James Cook in GPPs, Davis. Mine by far was Saquon Barkley. Everyone was going to go off. They were going to use different high-priced running backs. They were also going to use different Phillies, different Eagles, right? So they were going to use a lot of Devontae Smith, a lot of Dallas Goedert. I just thought Saquon Barkley was like this mega kind of pivot, this mega leverage off both of those aspects of ownership. And when you're a 7-point home favorite, with a solid team total like Saquon Barkley is, he's just like hiding there in plain sight. And when he scored 2 touchdowns right off the bat, I was just like, dude, I'm gonna be rich. Like, let's go. Didn't get rich. Obviously, Spencer Rattler sucks my anus and was literally lifted because he's not good. But flip over this team. I played Saquon in it as well. This one did not sim quite as well, but it's one where I played the Flacco double, Flacco to Jace to Chase and Higgins. No bring back. Had to get Mooney in. He just sucked my bank account dry all day. That rat bastard. But I played Barkley, Henry, and White in this lineup. Dalton Schultz, terrible. Eagles defense. So I got the Barkley and Eagles
Dalton
defense.
Dalton Schultz at whatever ownership has got to be some of the worst shit.
So terrible. But I didn't think people were going to play Saquon or Henry. So I was like, you know what? I'm okay. Yeah. I'm okay like eating some chalk at like cheap tight end. I don't know if that was good. But this team didn't really sim that well. I just really wanted to play Barkley. I really wanted to play Henry in the tournament lineup too.
It was Mooney was the classic one. I didn't think of I didn't play him in a single tournament team. I was like, this dude is the biggest joker. Like,
Mooney. So what did his ownership end up at?
I don't know. I didn't play him.
He was. I wanted to play him in tournaments because he was like the late breaking news that people don't often pivot to. But I think the problem is people were going to play somebody at his price point. People were going to play
Shaheed.
They were going to play Shaheed. They were going to play Tez Johnson. So it's pretty easy not to blow up your lineup to get Mooney in. Which is why I think he got played. If he was at a different price point and people had to reconfigure their whole lineups based on this news, I think we would have seen the classic like late breaking news he's under-owned kind of deal. But I don't think we really saw that.
Yeah, in all of my stuff, Mooney came in way under-owned. I mean, he was 25% in the Big Spy compared to like a Cortland Sutton, who was even more, where Mooney was like all of a sudden the best cash play of the slate, and then only 25% owned in tournaments. So that's a good play.
All right, Nate, you have got Daniel Jones, Rachaad White, Bijan Robinson, Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Michael Pittman Jr., Dalton Schultz, Kyle Pitts, and the Giants defense.
Yeah, so this team simmed out really well post-lock. And the reason is just because it falls into a weird spot with Daniel Jones and Michael Pittman being the stack that ends up being probably some of the best leverage on the slate with at least the projection set that I use. And so Daniel Jones and Michael Pittman projected to be one of the best value for value, like salary adjusted stacks on the slate. And so coming in way under owned. I mean, Daniel Jones was the 9th owned quarterback in this contest. And then Michael Pittman coming in at single digit ownership. When you can get a stack that comes in that under owned, I think you could pretty much fill out the rest of the lineup with whatever, and post-lock stuff's going to like it. And so then when you also get Jalen Waddle, who projected really well, coming in also at single digits, and then you just fill out the rest of the lineup with all the highest projected plays of the position, you end up getting a really high post-lock ROI. But it didn't do well. Like, obviously I had Bijan, but But yeah, I like this lineup just because I thought it had potential of like if all the cash plays go off, and then you get the Daniel Jones Pittman thing over Taylor, that would have been great leverage. But obviously, leverage works in the opposite way when you have Taylor putting up what he's doing.
Someone won today. TJD won the $50 red zone with the Mooney dud. And I believe the $1,111 Millie winner also had 37% on Darnell Mooney. So, you know,
sick.
nothing,
Nate,
nothing is impossible.
Nate, did you consider trying to get Jonathan Taylor into this stack? Getting up from Bijan in some way?
No, I thought Taylor was going to end up being overowned in tournaments, and I thought Bijan was going to be the play that, like, I thought the efficiency projection play him in tournament. A Taylor.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable. All right, boys. What a day. Shout out to Kirk Cousins. Shout out to Brian Schottenheimer and the Dallas Cowboys for making this be a bad show instead of a fun show for me. Shout out to everyone who won. Shout out to all you guys for watching. Appreciate all of you guys. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and we will be back with all you fellas next week.